And good evening. And I'd like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me this afternoon. My name is Michael Bailey, and I am the founder of the MinorityEye.com. And I'm joined here this evening with Chairman Johnny Cadero of the South Carolina Democratic Black Caucus. And we're here to have a conversation with you guys about how South Carolina can best get involved with the efforts that you guys have are underway right now and to get out the vote. And I'd like to start with you. If you introduce yourself and tell us who you are, and then Ms. Franklin, we go to you, and then the chair after that, Chairman, I'll let you ask the first question.
Okay.
Sure. My name is Richard Rose. I'm the president of the Atlanta NNAACP. I've been a life member of the NAACP. So first protest movement, I was 13.
Oh, wow.
I've been heading this one, the Atlanta NAACP, since 2015. And so this year we have created a coalition of NAACP branches across the state in 19 counties, total of 18 branches, where 77% of the Black voters actually live in Georgia. There are 159 counties, but Blacks are concentrated in cities, in urban areas. And early on, we looked at toward the primary in November to focus on local races that would also serve to bring out turnout at the top of the tickets as well. So now we face with 2 Senate runoffs and a Public Service Commission runoff. Obviously, it's critical Senate, critical for us, public service as well.
Okay. Ms. Franklin.
You're on mute.
You're on mute. Yep, I hear you now.
I'm Franklin, and I've been in Atlanta since 1972. I moved south from Philadelphia after graduating from Howard University and taught at Talladega College in Alabama. So I have lived in the South for most of my life. And I worked for Andrew Young and Maynard Jackson when they were mayors of Atlanta. And I ran for mayor in 2001. My first race, I was fortunate enough to win and then win re-election. So I served for 8 years, and I've stayed involved in the political activity on the Democratic side since that time.
Okay. Thank you for your service, Madam Mayor. Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, let me say I'm honored to be in such distinguished company, and I'm not just saying this because you're here. To hear someone say that they worked with and knew or know Andrew Young and knew Maynard Jackson is, to me, it's something that also makes me tear up. It really does. I'm just honored to be in this company. But be that as it may, let me just say this. Here's what I'm interested in, and as the chair of the South Carolina Democratic Black Caucus, I get emails, and I can't tell you how many emails I get a day, even texts I get. And everybody's asking for help. Everybody's asking to make donations so that we can help. And my concern is very simply this. We would like to assist in any way we possibly can. We recognize as well as you do the importance of this upcoming election. And we know that this can turn the tide for us and for America in and of itself. So what I'm trying to find out is the one thing I've never liked is people who turn out to be interlopers, who come in and want to walk in and all of a sudden they want to tell people this is the way it should be done. No. I'm from the old school, and I believe you get invited or you stay home. That's the way I look at it. So all I really want to know, this is the first question I want to ask, is if there's anything that we can do, and just point the way and we will do it. But I'm not going to be part of those. Don't want to use the term carpetbagger, but I'm not going to be one of those who walked in and just, because I know you know better than anybody else, the people who are trying to raise money off of this, the people who are trying to get notoriety out of it, and who probably don't have good intentions at all. So We would love to help, but we want to help where we can, if we can. And we figured that the best way to do that is for you to tell us what we can do, if anything. What can we do?
So is that a question for me?
For both of you, really, but yes, certainly for you to begin.
So as I mentioned, I'm a CPA by profession, maybe
Okay.
by nature, and so I looked at. We were looking at the voter purgings, where people being kicked off the rolls from last year, actually from 2018. And so as I was playing with the numbers of black voters versus in every county and how that ebbed and flowed, mostly increased, but there was sometimes they reduced. I noticed that the majority of the voters were concentrated in a few counties. And when I first looked at it, I saw 17 counties with 75% of the black voters. But as I continued to analyze it, the difference between number 17 and 19 was only about 600 voters. And so I expanded it to be the 19 counties and 77% of the black voters. We, in the NAACP, obviously, we do not endorse. We are non-partisan. But obviously in America, and particularly in Georgia, the black voters tend to favor Democrats. And in this particular election, especially at the top of the ticket, that's pretty clear. If we were able to increase the turnout, we would increase the chances and the likelihood that Georgia could be in the Democratic on the Democrat side of the aisle, and it worked. And we don't do commercials. We are sort of ground troops, and at this point is in a runoff. It's always hand-to-hand combat. There's a lot of commercials being done in the air, but black folks like to be reached out and touched. And so phone banking is the next best thing. Texting, since you can't, in this COVID situation, hand to hand, actually meeting with people in small groups is not where we are now. So we have to improvise. And what we are doing is phone banking, texting, and events, small events in neighborhoods. On this past Saturday, we had 16 events across the state from the collaboration of these 18 NAACP branches, and also in collaboration with other groups. We have pulled in the New Georgia Project, Georgia Stand Up, Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda, as well as the Prince Hall Masons, the Divine Nine, AME Church, the 100 Black Men, 100 Black Women. We have 2 years ago, after the loss from when Stacey Abrams lost, we knew we had to do something else because another election was coming. And fortunately, we were able to do that. I had conversations early on with Mayor Franklin about the strategy, and I'll let her tell you her thoughts with that. I'll turn it over to her.
Well, thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. And we are sister states. We have much history in common between Georgia and South Carolina. And we can talk about that some other time, but we've been going back and forth between these states for a long time. I would say that what Richard has shared, which is targeting activities at the grassroots level, working directly with grassroots leaders in these communities, is the strategy that I think will put us over the top. And we have about $500 million is being spent on television ads and mailing right now. And the response has been really good because the turnout in early voting has been very high. It's been at the presidential election level, but we have to keep it up.
Right.
So in addition to the groups that Richard has mentioned, the NAACP, People's Agenda, the New Georgia Project, the Divine Nine. I mean, just in addition to all of those, I've been working with a group called Care in Action that is working specifically in the city of Atlanta. And you say, well, why? It's a statewide race. Because these races might be won by a few thousand votes.
Right.
And unfortunately, the votes in certain sections of the city of Atlanta did not perform as well as they needed to. And so there's been a lot of attention to Southside Atlanta. And just this past weekend, one organization had 300 canvassers out on Friday and Saturday, going door to door. Now, so it is possible that in some of the counties that border South Carolina, working with Richard and a few other people, we might be able to identify the folks where you could actually work directly with them in those counties. And Richard, you have some ideas about that.
Sure.
I ran in 2001 and there were 84,000 votes cast. And in Georgia, in order to win the race, the election, you have to get the majority of the votes plus one vote. So in 50 years, actually now in 60 years, there's only one mayor that has run for an open seat and one without a runoff. And she's speaking to you. But I only won by 181 votes. My majority was 181 votes. So that teaches me that we need to go after every single vote, including along the border between Georgia and South Carolina, which might be closer for some of the work that you might do. But of course, we welcome you down in Atlanta so that we could blanket the city and the metropolitan area as well.
Right.
Richard, what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, but there are some key counties on the South Carolina. There's Richmond County, which is Augusta, Georgia, Columbia County, which is right north, Burke County, that's Waynesboro, and of course Chatham County, which is Savannah. Those have high Black voter counts, and we are already working in those areas. Initially, we were not in Burke County, but when people saw the success we had, they said, "Hey, let us work with you as well." And we've got that all over the state. But in particular, those counties are, like I said, rich with Black votes, and they right next door. For people who just want to contribute, otherwise sitting at home, we got text banking and phone banking as well. We got a good system to do that. We working with Center for Common Ground, and so that gives us, those of us on the ground, it frees us up to actually work on the ground. So we got rallies. We always need people to come out and do stuff like have at every rally. We got music, we got food, we got videos. We have materials to hand out. Just classic Black voter rallies, and so we always need.
I have voter lists right now on my dining room table. If you got an address, I can send them to you. I got voter lists right now from phone banking.
Right.
So either one of us can help you. And listen, you are very much welcome. You are very much welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Rose, we hear a lot about the two Senate candidates, but you mentioned earlier about a public service commissioner race. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So in Georgia, we have 5 public service commissioners. They serve 6-year terms, and they have to qualify in a particular district, but there's a statewide vote. And Georgia has the 5th highest electricity rates in the country and the 8th highest utility rates. The young man who's on it, he's Daniel Blackman, native of Columbus, Georgia, military brat. been involved in environmental issues for over the years, is running against incumbent Bubba McDonald, who's much of his campaign chest comes from the fossil fuel industry. Daniel Blackman has committed that he will not accept money from the fossil fuel industry and has returned some checks in that regard. That race is very significant. There has never been a black person elected to that seat since 1904 or 1906, one of them. And in fact, I'm lead plaintiff in a suit to start electing those positions by district, so that if you qualify in the district, only those voters in that district would vote for it. We don't know how far that's going, but obviously it won't affect this particular election. But with all of the rest of the turnout, we have with the 2 Senate seats and the intention on Georgia, I think we do have an opportunity to wrest a seat away from the good old boys and their policies. You know, Plant Vogtle, which is what's in Burke County, it's a nuclear plant, like $17 billion over budget. This public service commission voted that the ratepayers would pay for the overruns on that nuclear plant that has not, at this point, produced even a kilowatt of electricity.
That sounds familiar.
Right, that sounds real familiar. Could you either, Mayor Franklin or Mr. Rose, we hear a lot about the 2 Senate candidates, and we've seen some of the ads, but can you guys give us an understanding of who they are as individuals and as NAACP members, and Mayor Franklin as a mayor? I'm sure you have had interactions with both these guys before they ever put their name on the ballot. So who are they as individuals?
You want to take that one, Shirley?
I'll start. So Reverend Warnock, born over near Savannah, lived in public housing. His father was a Pentecostal minister and a small business person. He's the youngest of 12 children.
Wow.
The first to go to college. Graduated from Morehouse College, then went on to get his degree in divinity, and was called to be pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is the church of Martin Luther King Sr. and Jr. He has been active in social justice, environmental justice, human rights issues for the entire time he's been in Atlanta. He's well respected among clergy, but also well respected around the kinds of programs, not just his preaching, but also the kinds of programs that Ebenezer has provided to people who need it most. He is not one to, he has very strong opinions, and he has broad-based support in the African-American community. Frankly, I am not surprised that he's doing well, not just because he has good positions, but also because he's a very effective communicator and has developed a network of relationships over the course of his life. In addition to that, there's a young man, 33 years old, who ran for Congress in one of the seats in North Metro Atlanta, almost defeated the incumbent a few years ago, who worked with Congressman Hank Johnson, who was an African-American congressman, and also worked with John Lewis as an African-American congressman from the 5th District. And John has been closely aligned with John Lewis, John Ossoff, has been closely aligned with John Lewis. And I consider both of them, John Ossoff is very energetic, strong campaigner. Both of them are honest. John Ossoff has not taken money from corporate PACs. He is a filmmaker and a writer, and has been very concerned about corruption. And he is running against the incumbent who ran about 6 years ago and defeated another really strong candidate. But John Ossoff came a lot closer than people think. Because he's young, some people have felt that he's too young. But the candidate he's running against is strictly supportive of Donald Trump, has been against the stimulus packages, has been against Medicare and the expansion of health care. So Ossoff has been on the right side of some of the key issues that affect the African American community. And frankly, half of America, if not 2/3 of America, who are really struggling in this COVID. So it was relatively easy for me to actively support both of them now in this runoff because they would bring a new view and one that recognizes the needs of our community to the U.S. Senate.
And let me just add that Ossoff, there were several senatorial candidates in the Democratic primary. He won without a runoff. He won more than 50% of the vote back in June in our primary. Now, there were 21 candidates in that race. He got about 36% of the vote. There was another strong Republican candidate who came in third place, who's a retiring congressman, Doug Collins. So they both poll well. They both good candidates. I run into Warnock a lot, NAACP versus the various ministries that come out of Ebenezer. He fits the Ebenezer pulpit to a T. As Shirley said, he's
saying a lot.
Yeah. So they're very good candidates. Obviously Warnock's going to be the better orator, but Ossoff holds his own.
Yeah.
And so, I think they're great candidates, especially when you look at the sitting senators have been strong supporters of Trump and his racism and his support of white supremacy and failure to criticize the Charlottesville actions by white supremacists or the Proud Boys, and Leffler has been photographed with known white supremacists.
Oh wow!
So this is really for folks like Shirley and I. This is a no-brainer. We just have to get the message out and come close to get closer to the people to show them how serious this is to come out and vote. As Shirley said, we're doing okay. The last over the weekend, blacks make up about 30.2% of the voters. As of the end of Saturday, I think we made up about 31.4% of the turnout, which is good. I would like for us to get up to like 33 to 34% of the turnout as what I call overvoting, and we want to do what we can to make that happen.
Fantastic.
Both of these candidates, forget who they're running against. They are excellent candidates standing alone. They are running against candidates who have fought everything that we care about, from civil rights to health care to fair housing policy. Environmental issues. Both of the candidates are absolutely on the right side of the community, and I think they'll do a good job. One we know better than the other because he's lived longer. That's Robert. But I think John Ossoff has done a good job as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I agree.
Chairman Cadero, do you have anything to add?
There's really nothing that I can add to it, except that obviously we're supportive, and what I would like to do, if at all possible, those things that you think, and you have to, as far as I'm concerned, you have to tell us what we can do, where we can fit in. So perhaps after this, or just let us know. Do you want us to do? You want to send us a list call? You need us to come down? I mean, just tell us what you need us to do, and we stand ready to do that. And all I can do is give you our promise that we'll assist, because we recognize not only is it wonderful, for North Carolina, it is also for the United States. It's for our people. It's for people in general. And we are pulling hard and strong. And I'm proud to say this, and that is that I've just been sitting back watching, and what I have seen is you guys are raising holy heck down there. And that is, and I'm talking about the contours of the campaign, the areas that you're in, the things that you're doing is really, really a well fought campaign. And so I would be honored to be associated with it in any way I can, as would the Democratic Black Caucus of South Carolina.
All right.
That's terrific. Richard,
Yep.
you got an invitation now.
Well, we're here to help as the Minority Eye. We are part of the coalition called South Carolina Joins the Fight, and that's led up by a group of young ladies out of Georgetown, organization called Pumps Power and Politics. You know, we got some young black ladies that are young bad sisters that are carrying the flag, and so we're here. South Carolina Black Media Coalition, which is a collaboration of all the black media outlets in South Carolina. We're here, and we're going to be taking that message to our readers and to our followers, as well as the Democratic Black Caucus is joining us. So we are here, and we're in the fight. And so, like I said, we're going to be getting this information out tomorrow and published in our papers and websites and on the radio from our coalition members. So we want to wish you guys the best of luck. Keep fighting. We have to prevail, and we're here as if you need us. And let's not let this be the last time you call on us.
Hey. So coalitions are what we recognize. We have to figure out how to work together, no matter what the organization name is. We got to understand that we all suffer from the same malady, and that's white supremacy and oppression.
Say that again. we need to make that, and without doing any disparagement for others, but to recognize that our fight is our fight, and we welcome all the allies we can get. We will collaborate with anyone who is like-minded. But the time has come, particularly now, for us to join forces across the United States. And when we do, we will change this. And the thing that I think is most important of everything else is that, let me say this delicately, our leadership will be principled leadership. Our leadership will be fair leadership. Our leadership will be leadership for all people, and therefore everybody will be uplifted. And the sad thing about it is there are those who know that and who are trying to prevent us from getting hands on the reins of power so that these changes can come about. I'm so proud of y'all. You don't know. And I'm glad to help in any way I can. Do the good fight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor Franklin, Mr. Rowe, thank you for joining us this evening.
All right. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.